helping you build a valuable YouTube channel. You know, and that's not just a monetary thing. It's not just how much is your channel worth in terms of money. It's a how well is your channel positioned to help the people who you are uniquely designed to help. And I'm going to go ahead here and pull up the YouTube comments so I can make sure I am interacting with you all. As you have questions, feel free to leave me questions in the comments as I'm talking. But to start things off tonight, these 4 questions, and honestly, there's probably 100 questions you can ask, but these are really the 4 that if you get these wrong, you're going to inevitably have problems with your channel. A lot of you that I've worked with have been stuck for a long time at a certain subscriber number or a certain viewership number, or you're not attracting the audience that you want to attract, okay? And if you get these questions right, then you're going to put yourself in position to really see success a lot more quickly. Think of it as a shortcut, if you will, than if you just try to go out there on your own and start throwing content up on YouTube hoping that it's going to catch on. Okay, so before we get into the questions, I want to go over this. What is prosperity? And I think a lot of us, and this applies to anything, not just YouTube, business, life. Prosperity, a lot of people think has to do with money, and nothing could be further from the truth. If I hand you $1 billion right now and then drop you off with a briefcase full of $1 billion in the middle of Antarctica, that money's not going to help you. Okay? You are probably going to freeze to death a billionaire, and nobody's ever going to know that you were a billionaire. Nobody's going to care. Okay, so this idea that prosperity and money are the same thing is absolutely false, and it's something I think that's perpetuated by ignorant media. All right, here's what prosperity is, and here's why it matters as it relates to the 4 questions we're going to cover tonight. Okay, prosperity is prosperity is the accumulation of solutions to hard problems. Okay, like I said, the Antarctica example, if I drop you off with a briefcase with $1 billion in it, that $1 billion is not going to buy you a coat. It's not going to save your life. You're going to freeze to death with $1 billion. And that money is going to be completely useless. So we want to get out of the idea that what we're doing here on YouTube is somehow I'm building a valuable channel because it's all about money. It's not. Money will be the result of you adding value to the lives of other people. So money is never the goal. Money is never the purpose. Now, money may be a requirement for you to be able to run your channel. None of us can do this for free. We have to buy equipment. We have to give our time. Time's not free because we could spend this time doing something else, right? But the idea that the purpose of what we're doing on YouTube is money is nonsense, right? But money will come as you understand that prosperity is the accumulation of solutions to problems. That takes us to the first question that we need to ask ourselves before we start our YouTube channel. Okay, the first question you need to ask yourself before you start a YouTube channel is, what is the problem that I want to solve? For other people, by the way, not just for myself. Because if I'm just putting up videos that solve my problems, I'm going to watch that and nobody else is. Right? And this is fundamental. And this is what so many people miss. A lot of the people that I work with, their idea of starting a YouTube channel really centers around selfish goals. And I'm not saying that you can't have selfish goals. In fact, I'd argue that you should have some selfish goals, because having selfish goals will keep you in the game of helping other people when it gets hard. Okay? Having a selfish goal will keep you in the game when you get tired. You know, we're doing this for other people, but we're also doing it for ourselves. There's a balance there. But if you're not solving problems for someone else, then these people, the someone else, are never going to come watch your channel. They're never going to subscribe. They're never going to contribute to your Patreon or to your fan funding, if that's something that you do, if that's the revenue model that you want to put around your channel. No one's ever going to engage with that if you're not helping solve their problems. Now, I know I've spent a lot of time coaching gamers. Let me just insert here that I am now pivoting to coach basically YouTubers in general who want advanced coaching on how to take their brand, improve their brand, and build a community, a valuable community around that brand, such that at some point, yes, if it's your goal to bring in revenue, you can do that. But I can't help you bring in revenue if I don't teach you the fundamentals of creating, not just a YouTube channel, not just a Twitter page. I mean, even if I were advising someone to start a business, this is exactly what I would ask them. What problem are you solving? What is it that you're doing? What solution is your business bringing to other people such that they're going to want to give you resources, whether that resource is time or their money or whatever it is? What solution are you providing that someone else is going to want to be a part of what you're doing? And if you don't have a good answer for this, that's why a lot of you that I work with have been stuck for years, because you're not solving anybody's problems. You're just making content that makes you happy, you're enjoying it, but it's not helping anybody else in any way. Now, for those of you that are gamers, this question always trips up every, not every, but a lot of the gamers that I work with. This question like, well, I'm not solving problems, I'm making Let's Plays. Wrong. Let's Plays can totally solve a problem. I always use PewDiePie as an example. People will think, well, he's not really solving any problems. And the challenge is you're thinking of solving problems like finding the cure for cancer, or finding the cure for HIV or feeding the homeless. In the modern first world civilization, a lot of people's problems center around boredom, especially Americans. Americans are wildly bored. I mean, look at the entertainment we consume. Look at PewDiePie. Obviously, if he has 40 million people or 50, whatever he has now, watching him, clearly Americans are very bored, because we could spend that time doing literally anything else, and we're watching this guy shove controllers up, his fourth point of contact. We watch movies like Jackass. That is the epitome of being bored. Okay, so the problem you're solving may be bringing entertainment to a very specific audience, right? And then over time, you will branch out. And the problem I run into with a lot of YouTubers also is you want to reach a broad audience in the beginning. You can't. Like, I just want to get all the gamers to come watch me. It's not going to happen. I want to get all the music fans to come watch me. It's not going to happen. You need to get focused, okay? And then eventually, once you take over a niche, then you branch out and you begin to focus on taking over more and more territory of the way that, because if you look at someone like PewDiePie, again, using him as an example, when he first started seeing the bulk of his growth, it was playing survival horror games. And now he does everything, right? So what is the problem that you are going to solve? And I'm not expecting you necessarily, I mean, you can type, if you would, and this will be good for you all to participate, type in the comment section below, what problem do you think you're solving for other people? What problem would you like to solve for other people with your YouTube channel? That's whether you're a gamer. I don't just do YouTube coaching. I actually do professional, like life strategy coaching, helping people with their careers, helping people build businesses, helping people, overcome situations in their life where they fight with depression or they fight with being unhealthy, things of that nature. And, that's a problem that I'm solving for people. I help people understand who they are so they can understand where they fit in the world. That's a problem every human being has, okay? So put some thought to what is the problem. If you know the problem that you're working to solve, post it in the comment section. I'll take a look at them here as you all type. And the reason why we want to participate too is you participating gets the mental juices flowing, and it puts you in the game to where when you apply the teachings that I'm putting out here, not just sit here and listen to me, you're more engaged, and thus you get more out of it, and thus you're able to apply it to your situation and see greater success. Okay, so feel free to leave me a comment below. What problem are you solving? All right? Number 2. Number 2, also, let me add something here to number 1. What problem are you solving and why? And when you answer the why, think of it in terms of why should anybody care that you're solving this problem? You should be able to tell, if you get on an elevator with Bill Gates and he asks you, what are you doing? Oh, here's what I do for people and here's why you should care, Bill Gates. You should be able to answer that on an elevator quickly. Okay? That's what we're going for here. But you should be able to tell people why you're in the game as well. All right? So if you look at, like, if you take what I do in terms of, one of the things I do in my life strategy coaching is I work with combat veterans who are transitioning from military to civilian life. Why do I do it? Because I went through that, and it sucked. It's a hard transition to make, especially for combatants, people who have been in harm's way and had to dodge bullets and dodge RPGs and get into fights, and then you try to come into the quote-unquote real world, and you have all this knowledge, you have all this experience, but you're trying to be in the real world with people who have no idea what you've experienced. And the perspective, it's not that it was like a war was this big nightmare that you're afraid of. It's more the people who haven't been through it don't have the perspective that you have on life. Like, we understand how fragile life is. Like, I remember I run into people, I'll tell you a story to illustrate that. I run into people all the time who tell me, I don't talk to my sister anymore. We don't talk anymore because she did something. Like, in my existence, that's not a thing. Like, I've been in situations where I didn't know if I was going to come home. Me beefing with my brother over some petty issue to where we don't talk to each other anymore doesn't exist in my life. Because of my perspective, I understand how fragile life is and how quickly it can be lost. So for me to have some petty reason why I don't talk to my brother anymore, wrong. I'm not saying that people that do that are wrong, but for me, I can't live like that. Okay? So I say all that to say I do that coaching because I know how hard that transition is for other people. And if I can have even a small impact on somebody, especially people, because I work with people that I know too, if I can have even some small impact on a friend or a brother or sister in arms who's got to go through what I went through for, a decade, then I will have, I am obsessed with helping people get through that because I know how hard it is. Now, doesn't that sound valuable? Doesn't that sound like something people would want to be a part of? Of course it does. Because it's a real problem that people have that I'm working to build a solution, and I have the solution because I have lived through it. Okay? I've been to combat veteran support groups and counseling, and I have family. Not my birth father, because I was adopted. I was raised by a man who was in Vietnam, so I can go talk to him about his experiences, and I can put all this together, and I can help people out. A serious problem that and by the way, working to lower the suicide rate is something that's kind of like an underlying purpose in my other business. Working to lower the veteran suicide rate, huge problem. That's why people are going to pay attention to that and want to be a part of it. Now, think about that. Put that in terms of your YouTube channel. What is the big problem? And granted, it doesn't have to be, and this is where I trip people up, it doesn't have to be something as grandiose as what I am saying. The grandiose thing that I am sharing with you is just, it's there because I've been through some stuff and I want to help some other people through it. It can be something much simpler. You might be helping people, you might be helping single moms who don't have a lot of time to cook, come up with meal plans. That's something my wife is building a business around that right now. Okay? Single moms, now my wife's not a single mom, but she's a mom of many children, or busy moms, doesn't have to be single moms, busy moms who don't have a lot of time to cook, or dads, could be dads too, busy dads that don't have a lot of time to cook. Here's a meal plan, and here's videos on how easy it is to make these meals in 30 minutes or less, right? It's a big problem that people have, especially in America, because we're so busy, and you come from two-income households where, both parents work and you got kids. It's insane. And you're trying to eat healthy. That's the thing my wife is building hers around, is healthy eating, not just quick meals. Okay? So, sounds like something people would want to be a part of, right? That's what you need to be able to apply to your YouTube channel. What is the problem that your videos, your community is poised to solve? And why should anybody care? Why should veterans care about the program that I have? Because they know how hard that transition is when they start going through it. And they've seen me live through it. And they've seen me get success. They've seen me get the house and the kids and the wife and get happiness. And be able to transition into a professional life where I'm happy with what I do. Which is something that's also very hard for transitioning veterans, to come from combat to then going and getting a job. Okay? Not always easy. things that I can speak to intimately. In fact, I'm working on writing a book about it. So that's what I'm trying. I'm telling you these stories so that you can get in your mind how you need to think about building a YouTube community around a theme that people will want to be a part of. Okay, with Alloy 7, when we first started, people wanted to be here because they enjoyed my gaming reviews. Now, I'm not doing that here anymore. That's one of the updates you'll hear if you haven't been on my mailing list. I'm not doing any of that anymore on this particular channel. More on that later. But people wanted to be a part of that because my reviews were very in-depth, and they use psychology to help players understand, oh my God, this review is actually really helpful, because he doesn't just hate on a game he doesn't like. He tells us why he doesn't like it, and then he builds into it these objective statements that help me understand that even though he hated the game, I might like it because I like this psychological term that he built into his review system, our patented review system that I talk about. So people wanted to be a part of that. Now, I had the happy accident of also making monetization videos that then, me and Tim Schmoyer collaborated on a project for his channel, and 1 million views later, now I'm the YouTube monetization and coaching guy. And so that's what people come here for, and that's why I'm focused on that now, because that's what the bulk of my audience became. The point is, no matter how you slice it, it's about solving problems, regardless of the type of content you make. It doesn't have to be grandiose. It can really, sometimes simple is better, because it's a lot easier to explain. People can come and get what they need quickly and go on about their lives. Thank you for it, tip their hat, and keep it moving. Okay, I think I have properly illustrated point number 1. Point number 2, who are you solving the problem for specifically? Okay? Specifically. I'm gonna write that in red. Specifically. Okay? In other words, I don't want you to come on here and tell me, I make music for music fans. That's great. What music fans? Because if you make hip hop, I can guarantee you there's a large audience of heavy metal fans that are not going to want to hear that crap. I'm not calling hip hop music crap. I used to be a hip hop and heavy metal musician. So I get it. My point is, you need to be focused on a niche, focused on somebody specific. Like going back to my example with veterans. I didn't just say veterans, right? Even though any veteran is welcome to come through my programs, I specifically focused on combat veterans, and not just combat veterans, but combat veterans who find themselves in the transition from military to civilian life. That is very specific. Now, will my work attract older veterans? Of course it will. And keep in mind, that transition is a lifelong thing. But I'm focused specifically on the guys and ladies who are coming out now. And I've been helping people in this for years. Even before I built a business around it, I've been doing it just as a service to people I cared about. And I figured at some point I should probably build a business around it so that I can support it, bring in more resources from people who support us, and be able to help more people. Not just to get money. Remember, prosperity is not about money. Prosperity is about me providing and accumulating solutions for other people. Because when I do that, it's strange how God fashioned this universe. When I help other people, somehow I get helped. Isn't that amazing? So, who are you solving problems for specifically, musicians or DIY folks? I just gave you the example of what my wife's doing with the cooking stuff. She's focused on busy parents. She could focus on senior citizens who have all the time in the world to cook. But no, she's a busy parent. That's who she resonates with. It's a niche that she works with. I see some comments coming up here in the comment section. Let's see what folks are saying. G Legend says, one of the greatest coaches I've ever encountered. I don't want to thank you at the risk of sounding arrogant for assuming that you're talking about me. Or maybe I mentioned somebody that's the best coach you've ever heard of. But thank you. If you are talking about me, that's a blessing. I aspire, if I am great, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of people way greater than me. Believe that. So Tetra BBM says, hey there, Alloy. Can't stay to watch due to family coming over, but we'll definitely watch this when they're gone. Yep. So after I'm done, it'll probably take an hour or two to render on the YouTube channel, and then it'll be live. So here's the cool part too. All of these weekly coachings, and I'm planning to do these coachings once a week. It'll probably be on the weekends, Sunday evenings, maybe Saturday evenings when I'm not, because I also coach for my customers. We have people in the academy, in the white belt program, the blue belt, and the black belt programs. We'll talk about that stuff later. but I also do, way in depth, deep coaching with these folks. And a lot of times that happens on the weekends too. That will always trump what I'm doing here, because I have to respect the fact that people are paying me to provide them a service. But rest assured, it won't stop me from providing the free content here for those of you that may not have the money to be in a program like that, or you just like coming here for this type of coaching and don't want to be in a more in-depth. Maybe you're a hobbyist who just wants some ideas to help you enjoy your hobby. Okay, great stuff. Let's see, Rico's Reef, long time. What's up, man? Long time for Rico's Reef. So who are you solving problems for specifically? These are the two biggest things that I run into with every YouTuber I coach, whether they're in my programs or not in my programs. They haven't figured out what problem they solve. They'll come to me. Usually I'll get someone who'll send me a question that says, hey, I just started my Let's Play channel and I'm not getting any views. And it's like, well, okay. And this is a question I get a lot, and I think it bears addressing. So for folks that watch this, they'll understand why it's very hard for me to answer. Let's say I just started my Let's Play channel 6 months ago and I'm not getting any views. Can you come to my channel and tell me why? Give me some tips. And usually what I tell people is, I don't need to come to your channel. I can tell you, if nobody's watching what you're creating, you have a solution problem. You're not providing solutions that people want to see. Right? I just started my coaching channel a couple months ago, and I didn't even start regularly uploading content until really about 3 weeks ago. And actually 2 weeks ago, because I uploaded for a while and then I took like a month off, and then I got back into it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, uploading content regularly. And I jumped from 0 to 300, almost 300 subscribers in that short amount of time. And I work with people who takes them 3 years to get 300 subscribers, and the simple reason is not because I'm better than you. I guarantee you I'm not a better video editor than you. I'm not a better sound man. The difference is I am focused on providing valuable solutions that mean something to a specific audience of people. Actually, I had a dude comment on one of the videos I just did on my coaching channel. He's like, I can tell this is a good video because this is such a niche topic and you have so many views and barely any subscribers. Like, you clearly targeted a very specific audience with this one video that I created. And I think it's, for a very small channel, it's over 1,000 views, and it's gaining, over the course of this week, because I just launched it, it went from 120 views, I think, in a 48-hour period to 140 to 150, and it's still climbing. So hopefully it'll get kind of that trajectory where it gets 1,000 views, and then it'll end up with 10,000, and then work its way up to the hundreds of thousands, and that'll bring in more subscribers. And that's part of how we build. I'll have another video that I'll do at a later date where I talk about the anatomy of a new channel and the things that you need to do to kind of build this value and how to get that in front of people so that they can know you're adding value. Let's see, Tetra says, alrighty then, we'll keep my eyes open for it. Excellent. So, what serious problem are you solving, and who specifically are you solving it for? Number 3. And so the who here, let's say the who, we'll define that as your market, okay? And that'll become important for question number 3. And hopefully you guys can read the board here. Yeah, I think that's big enough. You guys have to forgive my handwriting here. I'm used to typing all the time. So number 1, what is the solution that you're providing to who, or what is the big solution you're providing and why should anybody care? Who are you providing that solution to specifically? And number 3, is your market big enough? And I'll explain why that's important. No matter who you are, no matter what your channel is about, you for certain have goals with your channel, goals that you want to reach, right? Those goals are usually going to include a certain number of viewers or subscribers, a certain number of views, watch time, and then at the end of it, a certain amount of revenue coming in to support the hard work that you're doing for other people and for you to pay yourself. There's nothing wrong with you making money from what you do on YouTube if you are solving problems for people, there's nothing wrong. Even if you're just providing people with entertainment, that's a problem that you're solving, right? There's nothing wrong with you making money from that. But the purpose of you bringing in money is so that you can continue to build solutions for the people you are claiming that you want to serve, and then you pay yourself so that you can sustain yourself while you're sustaining, in this case, your YouTube presence or your business. Let's see, we got some comments here. Andre says, just joined. What are the questions? So far, we got the 3 on the board, brother. Bad Karma says, hi, I need help with my gaming channel. Well, you're in the right place. Sentinel says, so more aimless LPs of No Man's Sky equals bad idea. A single video on how to study for and pass a particular technical certification exam equals probably a winner. It says, Andre says, Brian, I really want to thank you. Your videos on your other channel have helped me a lot. See, that's exactly what we were just talking about here a second ago, Andre. Thank you for saying that. And I promise I didn't pay or entice Andre to come here and say that after the comments that I made a moment ago. But that's exactly what I'm talking about, is providing solutions to people. Okay? Which is question number 1. So let me stop here before I get into is your market big enough and answer Sentinel's question. So Sentinel says, so more aimless Let's Plays of No Man's Sky equals a bad idea, and a single video on how to study for and pass a technical certification is probably a winner. And the answer is that really depends, all right? I want everyone to not think in terms of good and bad ideas. I want you to think in terms of effective and ineffective ideas. And what you want to find is not not maximize your ability to reach people, but optimize. So Let's Plays of No Man's Sky can certainly be a good idea if, one, your goal is to provide entertaining gaming content, or maybe even informative gaming content. Let's say you're doing LPs that are teaching new players how to play the game and you're very experienced. Like I have friends who are Sherpas in Destiny, and their whole thing is they literally take people on raids and teach them in the game how to beat the game. That's very valuable to players. It's maybe not as monetarily or educationally valuable as teaching people how to pass an exam, but No Man's Sky can certainly be an effective set of Let's Plays if you know how to get number 2. Like if you know the problem you're solving with your No Man's Sky videos, and if you know who you're making those videos for. So if you're making the videos for noobs and helping them get started, or maybe you're making it for advanced players, but you're giving advanced players tips that they hadn't thought of, similar to what we do here. Instead of me dedicating Alloy 7 to kind of cheap tricks that you'll find on blogs, I focus on in-depth marketing teaching that's going to help you not just build a YouTube channel, but build your marketing and your brand regardless. You can take this to YouTube, you can take this to Twitch, you can take it to Twitter. Everything that I'm teaching you here will apply. You can take it to a job if you wanted to. Okay, so I focus on people who want more advanced, in-depth coaching, because that's what I'm passionate about. I really don't like, I don't get much out of, looking at the news and then, hey, here's 3 things YouTube changed their algorithm to do whatever. I'm like, I can read that myself. I don't really need coaching on that necessarily. But that's me. There are people who focus on that, and that is something that people need help with. And so you get a variety of channels. So the No Man's Sky Let's Plays could be a good idea or an effective idea. And certainly the teaching video that you're talking about could be valuable and effective as well. It really depends on what is the problem you're trying to solve and who are you trying to solve it for. That's really, really what it comes down to. So don't think in terms of good or bad. Think of terms of effective and ineffective. If you hate playing video games, then yeah, playing No Man's Sky is probably not going to be very effective for you. But if you're like me and you love playing certain video games, and this is something I learned with, if you've been on my mailing list, you know I have a new channel for gaming, which is not, it's not Alloy 7. This is something I actually had planned to do 2 years ago, didn't do, and I finally was like, I need to pull the trigger on this. And all I focus on is playing games that I really, 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 really like, or games that I think I'm really, really, really going to like. So I don't have to let's play and be an opportunist, like let me go get this game on Steam that I know is going to be popular because then I can get views. No, I'm going to go get this game that I really like, but I know has an audience that wants to watch it, and the two meet in the middle, and it's a win. Let's see, we got some more comments here. Random Game says, hi Alloy, I've started a channel about gaming. I only subtitle anything game related to my own language. What are your thoughts about it? I guess I need more information on what you mean specifically by that. You only subtitle anything game related to your own language. So what is your language? And what do you mean specifically? Like, I don't really have any thoughts. I think subtitles are great because they help you with SEO. But I'm not quite sure. Is there a different way maybe you can ask that question to see if, like, make it more specific so I can address something specific? And we'll get to that. But number 3, we were talking about goals. Whether it's viewership, whether it's subscribership, whether it's revenue, you're going to inevitably have goals. Maybe you want to reach 1 million people, not to get them to subscribe, but I may want to reach 1 million veterans, combat veterans, right? From past to present, all the way back to World War II, all the way to today. Well, if I have that goal, then I need to make sure if I want to reach 1 million, which is probably not altogether realistic, but just go with me here. Or let's put it in terms people will understand. I want to reach 1 million music fans with my music. Okay, great. Then what type of music do I make? What problem am I solving with my music? Do I make music that makes people laugh, makes people cry, inspires people, gets people jumping and dancing at the club? What is my focus? What problem am I solving with my music? Who am I making my music for? Is it metal fans? Is it hip hop fans? Is it pop fans? And so if my goal is to get 1 million listeners to my music, I need to know, is the market big enough to support that goal? Are there enough people in the market that I'm targeting, let's say it's heavy metal, to where I could get 1 million heavy metal fans to come listen to me play heavy metal, right? And rest assured that if you want 1 million people to watch what you're doing, there needs to be way more than 1 million potential people that you can reach. And that's where this question comes from. So many of you, not necessarily you on this call, but so many creators have told me, is it still possible for me to get 1 million subscribers? I want 1 million subscribers. And what I have to tell them is it possible? Of course it's possible. There's over 1 billion people on YouTube. But is what you're creating approaching a market that's big enough for 1 million people within that market to want to come and be a part of it? So let me use Alloy 7 as an example. If I wanted to reach 1 million subscribers, doing what I'm doing right now will not work. Because as of the last time, and I'll show you why, as of the last time YouTube put out Google partner or YouTube partner numbers, it was 1 million creators on YouTube were partners, give or take however many, right? 1 million creators on YouTube were YouTube partners. That means earning money through the AdSense program. So let's just say the market for people who could potentially need or want YouTube coaching is no bigger than 1 million people. There's no way I'm going to get 100% of that market. It's not going to happen. So if my goal with Alloy 7 was to get 1 million subscribers, it's a foolish goal because there's not enough people on YouTube who want what I'm bringing for me to get 1 million of them, because there's only 1 million of them total. And then you have to take into account, so if you look at the fact that I focused on gamers for a long time, now I'm starting to pivot. I'm not moving away from helping gamers, but I'm moving into helping more than just gamers, because I hit critical mass for that niche. I had over 50% I had about 50% of the possible gamers who could possibly want this type of coaching. And that 50% is roughly 10,000 people. Because through my estimations, there's about 25 to 30,000 people in the market who could potentially benefit from what I'm doing, and not all of them are going to want it. So with 11,000 people subscribed here, not all of them are here for coaching, but most of them are. I hit critical mass. Now it's time to pivot. I own that, like Genghis Khan, I own that piece of land. Now it's time to branch out. But you don't branch out until you own the land. But if I wanted 1 million subscribers, I couldn't keep doing this. So I had to make my plan very much different than getting subscribers. I made my plan, how many people can I help? And I've helped, I say it's around 50,000, that's being conservative. I've helped over 50,000 people build more valuable channels. Now, that doesn't mean that they've all read my books or been in my coaching. They haven't. A very small percentage of them have been in that. But that's how many, looking at the questions I get every single day and the people that I've helped over the last couple of years, that's pretty huge. But expecting to get 1 million subscribers doing what I'm doing here would be a fool's game for me to even attempt that. So what you have to do is identify what your goals are, and then determine, is the market that I'm targeting with with the solution and the specific people I'm targeting, is it big enough for me to get whatever my goal is, whether that goal is money, views, subscribers, or just helping people, right? Cool. Okay, we got some comments here. Let me get through them. Andre says, hey, Brian, are you going to do easy Bible studies of different books of the Bible after Genesis? So this is a separate question from the coaching tonight. I'll tell you, but I can use this as a coaching example. I had a hunch that maybe there were people on YouTube who wanted to get easy biblical study information without feeling like they're getting preached to, and they could watch it in 4 minutes or less and go on about their day. So far, looking at all of my statistics and analytics, not just on YouTube but on my website, there really isn't a big market for it. There's just not. And the people that are in the market are pretty much, they already know where they go to get that information. So I'm not actually 100% sure that I will continue the biblical studies. Right now I'm focused on professional development. That's kind of where we're moving into. Professional development, as well as support and outreach for military veterans. That's kind of the two areas where I'm really, really focused right now. The spiritual coaching, I'd love to do it, but it's something that I've found, and I've been doing it for a long time, I found that it's just something that works better in person. On the internet, it's very, like, I had a person get very frustrated with me with one of the videos that I put out. And because it's very easy to be misunderstood in a 4-minute video, I can't say everything that I think or believe. And so I may leave some context out that really gives people trouble. So for now, I've got the biblical studies kind of on ice. I may dabble here and there to see if we can get some traction. But if you look across YouTube, the amount of people looking for biblical studies is it's minimal at best. All right. So the point I'm making for the folks on this call is you have to know who you're trying to reach specifically. And when you realize that your market isn't big enough, question number 3, it's time to pivot. All right. So Random Game says, like cutscenes and trailers, etc. My language is Arabic. Okay. Shokran. And I haven't seen anyone who did that. And the amount of people who speak English here are not that much. Yeah, so if you're reaching an Arabic audience, then Arabic subtitles is totally fine. In fact, the interesting thing is that, like, if you look at the US, we make up, I think, the smallest pool of people on YouTube. Like, YouTube is huge globally. So I say, yeah, go for it. And here's the deal. Experiment with it. See how it works. See if it helps your SEO, if it brings viewers to what you're doing. Test some videos without the subtitles. Test some with. See what happens. He said, Random Game says, I'm also following your other tips about taking permissions, etc. Cool. So Bad Karma says, I saw a video with you asking game companies permission to use the games. On that video, you said something about an email template that we can download and use. Yeah, so the email template is in the video description, and it's on my website, alloy7.tv. Remember, .tv. If you go to .com, you're going to go to the website that they stole from me. Frickin' internet troll parasites. But if you go to alloy7.tv and you go to the monetization page, the email is in there. You can literally copy it, paste it into your email, and just change the words to your name and your information, and then you're done. All right, so Riff Flores, Flores, it's hard to read on the white screen, so it says N. Okay, N, cool. Chase Ross says hello Chase. And then for people to understand the story and conversation is cool. So Andre says, I love your Bible studies though. Yeah, you and I think 2 other people really, really love them. But for me to only bring, and most of the people who watch them, strangely enough, are you, one other person, and then it's mostly my family. I see my family all the time. I can just give them that. But what I am looking for other ways to build the kind of spiritual teaching into what I do. It's just YouTube, it doesn't really work well. I found, honestly, that biblical studies work better on Facebook than they do on YouTube. So I may transition that type of work over to Facebook. So make sure you get on Facebook and like the Bryant Chambers page, because that's probably, if I do start doing biblical studies again, Facebook is probably where that's going to happen, and I'll probably pull it away from YouTube. But that's great. It's a great question because it's applicable to what we're talking about. My goal is to reach people with all of this coaching and teaching that I'm doing, but I realize that the market on YouTube, for example, for biblical studies is very small, and it's too small for me to reach my goal, which is to reach literally millions of people and help them build a playbook for their life that helps them get to their definition of success. So there's that. Thank you so much for replying. Have a nice day. You too, Random Games. Have a great day. Okay, so is your market big enough for you to reach whatever your goal is? So for example, if you wanted to get 1 million subscribers, I would really hope that you're at least targeting an audience that has, and I hate to say it, but at least 10 million, if not 100 million people that you could potentially reach. Just because it's hard. I mean, it's not necessarily, and it depends. Like, if what you're creating is very, and when we get to question number 4, this will make a lot more sense. If what you're creating is highly in demand, then it's going to be easier for you to pull in viewers and subscribers than it is like for what I was talking about with the biblical studies. It's just not in demand. So I can keep making them for the 20 people that watch them, but at the end of the day, you know, they perform well in search, but I can tell that nobody wants to watch them because even though it ranks first for some of the search terms I target when I teach about SEO, I'm still not getting any views. So even though it ranks first on YouTube's front page, I can tell nobody cares about it because nobody's, you know, searching for it. All right, so Chris Whitaker says, I keep trying to start a channel and I always give up and get discouraged. How do you get past that? How can you build a solid channel and have the confidence to continue to do content, especially with people like Keemstar and Leafy that just build a fan base based on bashing others? Here's why most people quit. And please understand that what I'm getting ready to say is not directed at you. It's directed at humanity, okay? The reason why most people quit is because it's all about them. If you have a goal to create content to help other people, and there is an audience of other people that you can help, obviously you don't want to keep making something for nobody, but you're genuinely creating content that can help other people, and you've got a goal to reach people and provide something positive to their lives, you will have all the motivation you need to push past the hard times. What happens is people hit the wall of YouTube. YouTube is like anything else in business. If you want to be successful, you have to prove to the system that you're worthy. And that means you have to make great content. You have to make great content that enough people want to see, that solves problems, and it's focused on people specifically such that they'll come and watch it. And then YouTube will be glad to promote your videos once you prove to them that the videos are good enough for an audience that wants to see them. But the reason why a lot of people quit is because they get in the game, they realize how hard that is, and they quit because it's not really about the other people, it's about them. You know what I mean? Like, I can remember times where, you know, like in the military, when you're doing something, like if say you're on a patrol and you're tired and you're just worn out, but you keep going because you know that if you slip, one of your brothers could end up getting hurt or killed. And so you keep pushing past being tired because your goal is to keep, like my goal in war was to keep my men, and I say men because all of my guys were men, I'm not discriminating against the ladies, was to keep my men alive and healthy and get them home safe. That was my #1 goal. So everything I did, I'm not perfect, obviously I'm flawed and I make mistakes and I get lazy too. But for the most part, everything that I'm wanting to do and I'm trying to do and I am doing is with that purpose in mind. So when I'm tired, I can push past being tired and unmotivated because I have a greater purpose that I'm pushing toward. If you don't have that greater purpose, if you don't know what problem you're trying to solve and why, you're going to start and quit, start and quit, start and quit, and you might as well just not start. If you are not willing to go through the rigor, and like if you read my book, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, because I'm going to show you how to get my ebook for free. Read my book. This is the first thing I teach, is how to do this. Like, I'm not going to get into the details of how to do this tonight because you're going to get access to my book here in a minute for free, and it's going to show you how to do it. Okay? So But the first thing I teach in the book is you have to do this, because that is what's going to keep you in the game when you get tired. And when you get that video that you worked on for 8 hours and you only got 13 views because you had a hunch that people would like it and they didn't. And now you have to pivot. But you got to remember, I'm not doing it for me. I'm not doing this coaching content for me. I know this stuff. I have people who coach me who are way smarter than me. And I'm like Prometheus. I just get the fire from the smart people and I bring it down to you guys and ladies. Okay? That's what you have to do to push past that. So, Flora says, sorry about that. Enjoy all the tips you throw out at us. Inspires me to totally go all out in making my channel. Glad to hear it. Rico's Reef says, my channel is about saltwater fish tanks. Yo, yeah. That and Seth Talk, that's great. There's got to be a market for people who want to talk about saltwater fish tanks. Is that a real thing, or are you trolling me, or is that for real? Because that sounds like a niche that a lot of people, if that's a real thing, could be interested in, where you don't find a ton of information about it. So, Gamer Rico says, hey B, is it possible to take too much time off from your channel? It has been about 2 months since I made my last video, and I'm deciding if I want to continue my channel or start another one. No, I mean, YouTube's a machine. So when you stop feeding the machine, it's going to throttle everything down. It's going to say, okay, you're going to get less views, even on your evergreen content. You're going to get less subscribers. You're going to get less watch time, because the machine wants content. Because the more content you put out, the more ads they can run, the more revenue they make. And if you read Google's financial report, like I showed you guys in a coaching video many months ago or weeks ago, whenever it was, that's their main revenue stream, is advertising. So the more videos you make, the better it is for you and the better it is for them. So they're going to be inclined to promote you. Taking time off isn't going to kill you. I've taken 2 months off from Alloy 7. I came back on tonight to do a live coaching call, and I picked up right exactly. I'm looking at the numbers who are on this stream now. I actually have more people watching this now than the people who were watching when I was winding down. So I kind of went into a lull with Alloy 7 where I was working on what's the next move, because me trying to build Alloy 7 as a coaching channel and as a gaming channel is never going to work. It's just not. So now it's going to be a coaching channel. And I built a separate gaming channel, which if you're on my mailing list, you've probably already seen. So I don't think there's a such thing as too much time off. You're probably going to lose some subs. And you're definitely, the amount of subs you get every month is going to go down. Like when I was doing my Fallout 4 experiment, my subscribers were, I think, twice the amount that I was getting a month than when I took 2 months off and made 1 or 2 videos every couple of weeks. It's just the way it works. But when you get back into the game, your channel still has the authority that it's built over time, as long as it hasn't been like a year. I think if you take a year off, you may run into some problems. But if you take a month off here or there, I don't think it's going to hurt you that bad. At least that's my experience. Let's see. Chris with the K says, thank you. What else do we have? Andre says, do you have a decent income? Depends on how you define decent. For a very small niche, when I started as a gaming coaching channel, yeah, the revenue has actually been really good for that. It was higher than I ever thought it would be. Once I started selling products, I couldn't really monetize videos very much because not a ton of people watch my videos. But when I started actually building valuable products for people, I think I did like the first week of book sales when I first started selling my book. I got more, there was more revenue that week than I think I had earned the last 2 years in AdSense revenue. So yeah, you can make a decent revenue even with a small channel if you're providing value to people. And no, I don't think that's rude. I think that's a fair question, because that's part of why we're here. We want to be able to build revenue because it helps us build more valuable content for our people. But it also helps us, if you're a person like me and has a gang of kids, it also helps you feed your kids. All right, is your market big enough to help you reach whatever your goals are? That's the third question. Fourth question, I want to look at it to make sure I get it right. If I could write, that'd be a really good thing. The fourth question coming up here. Okay. Number 4. What does your market, and now I'm putting / community because I want to get out of the market talk and start talking about the actual people. Market sounds a little impersonal, but understand that in this particular question, they're the same thing. What does your market / your community that you're building or wanting to build on YouTube want badly? Okay, what do they really, really, really want? That's the other question you need to ask. And this is the question you need to have figured out, or at least have prepared a number of experiments that you can run. And I'll show you how to do that here in a second. Such that when you launch your channel and you've got all of these things in place, you have to at least have some intuition, even if you don't know exactly what your market wants right away. And we'll talk about more detail here in a second. You need to have some intuition about what they want in general and have some experiments lined up so that you can gauge what you think. And then when you figure this out, you attack it with everything that you have. Let me give you a practical example. Alloy 7. Once I did the collaboration with Tim Schmoyer, I became the monetization and then the gaming coach guru on YouTube. It was not my intent. I did not make those monetization videos thinking that one day I was going to build an academy and all these other things. It was something I did to help out friends. And I considered other creators my friends because I was watching people like my YouTube idol, Mark Bustler over at Classic Game Room, leave YouTube because of these policy changes. I'm like, no, let me get involved because I understand a lot about how these copyrights work and what YouTube is trying to do. And it's not as bad as everybody's saying it is. It's going to get better. And then it did. And I had some insight, not because I'm, wildly intelligent, but because I have experience. I have worked with music copyrights before, and I had a hunch about what YouTube was working to do. And all they were trying to do was protect their interests. And then once they had that set up, then they would adjust the system to work with the people, because you can't defend yourself and kill your ecosystem at the same time. YouTube makes their money off of you. They're not going to make their system such that you can't make money. So I saw that coming. I started making videos because of my experience, and then boom, my subscribership started really picking up. And at the same time, my subscribership was going through the roof doing a certain type of Let's Play. And so I was in this dilemma like, crap, do I continue doing these Let's Plays? Because my channel is, at that point, was doing, I think, 1,000 subscribers a month, which was early in my channel life. Or do I switch and start doing this coaching because people are begging me for it? And so I started doing more coaching, and it was interfering with my Let's Plays. And long story short, the people who really stuck around here were the people who wanted the coaching. So I had a decision to make. Do I continue to make gaming content here on Alloy 7 when a very small percentage of what is now my audience wants that? And frankly, when I make it, it turns off a lot of you who are watching this stuff, because like, I don't want to watch Minecraft or whatever game he's playing. I want more coaching. Or do I listen to what the community wants badly, which is more advanced marketing, social media marketing coaching, and YouTube specific coaching? Because remember, a lot of things I teach you, you can apply this to any social media platform. Doesn't have to be YouTube. And so do I go into what my market wants badly? And that's why I'm here tonight. After about a year of debating, deliberating, working with my wife, who is, my business partner, and trying to figure out, do I keep making the gaming content? Do I stop making the gaming content? Because it was hard for me. And then I even put out a video a couple weeks ago where I was like, I'm kind of done with gaming, but what I was really trying to say is I'm done playing games I don't like. Done. I'm not doing any more Let's Plays that I don't think I'm going to like the game. Boop. Don't care. And then I said I was going to be pulling back from Alloy 7, but after I made that video, I was like, there's a lot of people here, because after I made that video, I still was getting probably 10 questions every day. And that's 10 questions a day is light, because I stopped making content 2 months ago. I was getting lots more questions when I was making content more frequently. I was like, I'm still getting 10 questions a day. People still need help. I need to think about what my market, what my community wants badly. They want help. So I can't take everything that I've built over the last 2.5 years and just be like, give it to my son and let him do Minecraft Let's Plays. That would, when I really sat down and thought about it, I shouldn't have made that video. That's why I took it down. But I was like, that's not really taking care of my audience the way I should be. So I built a channel separately for my son, built a separate gaming channel for me and my, the gamers that work with me. And then I was like, Alloy 7 is just going to be about helping you build the best brand that you can build, whether it's on YouTube. I don't care. Like, you can come here for Twitch advice, whatever you need. That's what we want to be able to do. Now, I am focused, again, going back to specifically, I am focused on YouTubers, specifically YouTubers who want to approach it from an entrepreneurial perspective. Small business owners, musicians, people who at the end of this want to be able to draw revenue so that they can make better product and also feed their families. Okay, that's the niche that I focus on. So you have to know, or at least have an idea of what the people so you Let's Players out there, you don't just come to the table and say, well, I want to make Minecraft videos, so yep, I'm going to do that. No, you have to think about it from your viewers' perspective. What type of Minecraft videos do your viewers want? If you know who they are specifically. Like, if I know my audience specifically, they don't want to watch Minecraft. They don't. They don't want to see that. So I can't, and I don't really want to play it. So it's a win-win to stop doing Minecraft content for me. Same thing goes when Andre and I were talking about my other channel with the biblical studies. The audience doesn't want that badly. What the audience wants is professional career counseling and personality type information to help them make career and life decisions. That's where I'm focused. That's what and I set up the experiments. I was like, I'm going to have biblical stuff. I'm going to have the motivational stuff. I'm going to have the kind of the one thing you need to know. I'm going to have my book reviews, and I had an idea of what people would want, and then I need to have a know thyself column, because all of our success starts with us understanding our personality and how our psychology and biology works. That's why in every academy I run, whether it's YouTube, whether it's life coaching, the first video is about knowing your personality type and how it applies to the work that you're doing. So I built that into my other coaching channel, and it took off. And it's still taking off. Like, I'm still reaping the benefits every day of new subscribers. Whereas I would get, when you're a new channel, you might get a subscriber once a day or once every couple of days, maybe a couple of months. Now I'm getting subscribers, throughout the day, every day. And it'll continue to grow as I continue to build. Okay, but that's because I had an idea, because I've been here for a while. I'm not new at this. I had an idea of what the market wants. And even with my gaming channel, I'm starting to see growth. I mean, I just started it a couple days ago. So you can't look at it and be like, well, he did, I think, 100 and some odd views on a particular game that I'm focused on. But 100 some odd views is a big deal when you just started your channel a couple days ago and nobody knows who you are. In fact, I use one of my kind of joking aliases on the channel. I don't even use my actual name. So knowing what my audience is going to want, and some of it was stuff that I learned here at Alloy 7. Like, I looked at my analytics, I'm like, gaming wise, here's what people that follow me want. So that's where I need to focus. And that's where I'm focused. So you got to know what your audience, what your market, what your community want badly, so that you can constantly be feeding them and constantly be sensing your community, because this might change. In fact, it will change over time. You're going to have to innovate to keep up with them. All right, let's take some more comments and questions. So Random Game says, those are great questions, and thankfully my channel can answer them all. Excellent. Seth Talcott says, do you ever do cons or industry shows? I have not yet. I'm actually going to be doing a lot more public speaking. Not so much on the YouTube stuff, although if a con wanted me to come out, I would gladly do it. Right now I'm focused on public speaking for helping people with life stuff, career counseling, stuff like that. But yeah, if you know of any cons that need a YouTube marketer to come in there and talk to creators, by all means, I'd be willing to do it. I have yet to do it as of today. Let's see. Andre says, bye, I have to go, but I wish you luck on your other channel because your videos really help me as a person. Plus, you add an entertainment aspect to your informational videos, which I really like. Thanks, Andre. Good to see you again, my friend. Have a great night, day, whatever it may be where you are. G Legend says, I don't know what the gaming community on YouTube wants badly. Well, that's because you're trying to look at the whole community. You can't know what the whole community wants because, like, for example, if you were targeting me, I guarantee you, I am not your average YouTube gamer. I don't watch I watch, if I'm not like a personal friend of yours, or if I'm not a personal friend of a creator, I watch basically 2 YouTube channels that are gamers, or 3. I watch Kind of Funny, the Greg Miller crew. Sometimes I watch Extra Credits, so I guess it's 4. Sometimes I watch Extra Credits because I like their intellectual stuff, and I like their design philosophy stuff. And I watch Mark from Classic Game Room, and I watched Derek from Classic Game Room Undertow before he went on to do his other thing. That's it. I'm not watching a lot of gaming content because I don't like a lot of gaming content, especially like if you go to, this is how I knew the writing was on the wall for me doing kind of conventional gaming content. When I went to Social Blade and looked up the top 500 YouTubers that do gaming, I was like, I don't want to be like any of these people. Not that there's anything wrong with them. They're cool for the audience they reach. I don't want that audience. And if you come to my new channel, which I'll link you up to here, you'll see I have a disclaimer that's like, if you're this type of gamer, I love you, but you probably don't want to be here. Not because I don't want you here, but because you're not going to be happy. You know, I target a very specific group of people. So, you know, let me make sure this thing's scrolling faster than I can answer questions. So that's what you have to, you can't look at the whole community. You need to look at the community that you're trying to reach. And if you can't think of what that is, start with you. What are you passionate about? And then think outwardly, okay, if I'm passionate about this, I'm assuming there's at least a couple other people out there who are also passionate about this, but how many? Then you research it. Go look up search terms that are related to what you're passionate about, find the other channels who are doing it, and look at how successful they are. And if you find one that's really successful doing what you want to do, then just reverse engineer what they're doing and apply it to your content. And then over time, you're not going to do it overnight, but over time you'll start to grow. So yeah, like if you were targeting me, you couldn't make PewDiePie content, is the point that I was making. I'll never watch that. I mean, I watch some PewDiePie stuff because I use what he does in my coaching because he's the biggest YouTuber. There's some things that he does very well that you can apply to your channel, even if you don't want to make the type of content he's making. You can still apply some of the principles he's using. All right? So outside of coaching, I'm not watching PewDiePie. He makes nothing I'm interested in. God love him. I think he's a smart dude and I have a lot of respect for his success, but he's not making anything I want to watch. Let's see. Senelin says, Morgan Freeman reciting a game of cards against humanity. That is what YouTube wants. Chris with a K says, is it a good idea to use your main Gmail as your YouTube channel? All right, so remember, we don't want to think in terms of good or bad ideas. It's effective or ineffective. Does using that help you in some way get to what your goal is? If so, then it's effective. If it's somehow hindering you, it's not effective and you probably need to adjust. Let's see. All right, Andre, have a good night, my friend. The Wyatt Stevens says, I don't get how he thinks he's great. Not being rude, but this fan base isn't that big. But his fan base isn't that big. More power to him. Are you talking about PewDiePie? Because his fan base is pretty huge. I'm not, so Wyatt Stevens, I'm not sure who you're talking. If you're talking about PewDiePie, I think he's got one of the biggest audiences on the planet. At least in entertainment. But I'm not sure exactly who you're talking about, so you can comment on that. Seth says, quality over quantity. G Legend says, thank you. Excellent. So that takes care of the questions. I'm going to be out of the shot for a second because I'm noticing that I forgot to put something in the comment section that's going to ultimately, or not in the comment section, but in the description, that's ultimately going to be helpful to you all. Let's see what we got here. All right, let me save that. And I'm going to put it in the description as well. So, before you click on this, we talked earlier tonight about me getting you access to my ebook for free. I've put a link in the comment section and in the description where you can go, and so it's going to take you to the ebook purchase page. Don't purchase it. There'll be a pop-up that comes up that says, if you want to get the book free, sign up here, and then the book will come out to you free. Now, for those of you watching this either live or you may be watching this after the fact, you're not a gamer. Don't worry. I know the book is called The YouTube Gamer's Survival Guide, but trust me, aside from I think chapter 6, which is about buying equipment for gaming, everything that's in that book is applicable to any type of channel, not just a gaming channel. Okay, so don't feel like the book isn't going to help you, like if you're a musician or if you're a DIY person, or like say you're a chef, because I do attract a lot of different types of creators to the work that I do here. The book will help you across the board. So what's going to happen is when you go to the ebook page, the pop-up's going to come and say join our mailing list, and then once you join the mailing list, you'll get a series of emails from me, and one of them will have a link where you can download the ebook completely for free. Now, if you want to buy the book and just get it immediately, you totally can, but I decided that I wanted to start providing the book to folks for free just to add value. Like I've made money on the book. I've had people review the book online, and you know it's available on Amazon as well. Sometimes people buy it on Amazon, but I wanted to do this as a gesture, like getting back into coaching. But one of the reasons why I walked away from coaching, just to give you guys some of the backstory here to some of the videos you've seen that might be confusing over the last few weeks. One of the reasons why I backed away from coaching is because I spend a lot of my time answering questions off of live video that are just focused on stuff, honestly, that people could Google. Like I'll have a person ask me, and it's not to insult them, it's just, you know, they'll say, hey, what's a good, you know, audio editing software? And I'm like, those aren't really the questions I want to spend a lot of my time answering. I do usually answer them, but that's something you can Google, and there's websites, and the reason why I don't want to answer it is because I have my own biases and preferences, and there are other technology geeks out there who can give you way better answers if you just Google those types of things. So I didn't want to, and that was the type of questions I was getting all the time, are these very simple questions like, hey, can I monetize Grand Theft Auto game videos? And I'm like, well, that depends. Like, I'm getting these questions that I don't want to spend a lot of time answering. So I'm like, if this is the type of coaching people are looking for, I don't want to do that type of coaching. I don't want to come on here and talk about, like, I'll briefly address this debacle that went on with demonetization that everyone freaked out about. It's nothing to freak out about. All that happened was YouTube says, we're just going to tell you now when it happens instead of just doing it. YouTube's been doing that for years. They've been doing it since the policy's been in place, which goes back to whenever they enacted it. It's probably before I came on YouTube. So everyone's freaking out about you. They have to defend their brand, and they have to protect their brand because ads are their primary source of revenue. And as is typical, YouTube generally freaks out. Now, I will argue that most of YouTube freaks out when stuff like that happens, not because they're really worried about losing money, but because they know if they freak out, people will watch it. And that's the type of content I hate. And I'll say it, I hate sensationalized content that's just made to get viewership. Like someone was talking earlier about videos that are just made to hate on other people. I don't support that. Now, I won't hate another man for, you know, how he puts food on his plate, but don't expect me to watch that type of content. Don't expect me to like it, endorse it, or ever make it. And I think a lot of these YouTubers think, you know, if I come online and I scream about a bunch of stuff, you know, it'll give me a lot more viewership. And that's what I think some of these folks that are whining and fussing, that's what really happened. There's a fear-mongering that people will do on YouTube because they know psychologically it'll get your attention. And I will not do that to you. I refuse. I want to be genuine and authentic with everybody to the best of my ability. Let's see. How has YouTube Red affected me, if at all? Marginally, if at all. I haven't seen any drastic changes, but you got to remember, I also took 2 months off from making regular content, so I don't know. I never really saw a big bump in my revenue because of YouTube Red, but I'm also on an MCN, so that could have affected the numbers as well. So the book is in the comment section. It's also in the description. Now, if for whatever reason you've got some type of pop-up blocker, it shouldn't block this because it's organic to my web. The script is organic to my website. It's not coming from a third party. I wrote the script. So it should, like, none of the pop-up blocker should stop it. If for whatever reason the pop-up blocker does hit it and the pop-up to join the mailing list and get the ebook doesn't come up when you go to the site, shoot me an email and let me know. I will add you to the mailing list with your permission myself, and it'll kick the ebook out to you. Okay, so that I wanted to provide something of value now that I'm coming back to doing more advanced coaching, kind of as a I'm back to help you all out with more advanced coaching than you can get from the blogs, which kind of tell you parochial things, but really don't go deep into the marketing issues. Okay? And this was a way for me to say thank you for your support all these years. 11,000 subscribers is huge for my type of channel. I'm a small channel, but I'm huge for what I do, if that makes any sense. So it's a thank you. It's a please take the book and use it and put it into practice so that you can start building, the most valuable channel that you can possibly build so that people will want to be a part of the problems you're solving and why. And you'll have your specific folks mapped out. And you'll be able to know, is your market big enough for you to reach whatever your goals are? And you'll be able to start understanding what your market wants badly so that you can start providing it. And Renier De Beer says, some family members are in the works of starting a channel. Do you think having different hosts covering different contents... Looks like he didn't finish the sentence. But if the question is, do I think that can work? Yeah, I've done that here. And it's gone up and down. Some nights, Anna, for example, who's hosted shows here, would do better than I did hosting. Sometimes I would do better. It just depends. Thank you for being genuine and helpful. Doing my best, man. If I could tell a new YouTuber one thing, what would it be? Everything that's on this board. That's why I started here. This is what everybody should have done before they ever started making content. And nobody does this. Why? Because no one teaches you to do this. They just don't. They start telling you, make great content, SEO. Here's how you do jump cuts to make sure people are paying attention. Dude, if you make dope content, all of that outlier, make sure your jump cuts are set up a certain way to make sure a 13-year-old doesn't click off your video. Like, if you're making something valuable for that 13-year-old or 15-year-old or 28-year-old or whatever, they will stick through it. Believe me, I am a horrible video editor. And even with my new gaming channel, I noticed immediately, because I targeted the videos properly, immediately my retention time went up 2 or 3 times higher than what it was on Alloy 7. Renier, I don't want to mispronounce your name, says, look or feel like covering too much or overfilled. So if covering too much is hard for me to say, because it depends on, you want to make sure that everything you're creating is related to this, number 1. And number 2, everything you're creating should be for a specific group of people, helping them solve a problem that they care about. And as long as, even if you have different content, like for example on my other coaching channel, I have professional career counseling coaching, but I also do personality type coaching. But those things go hand in hand. They're different products, but they have the same theme and the same purpose, which is to help you become the best version of yourself, to help you map out a playbook that's going to win for your life, whatever you define winning as. So I can have different products and different ideas, but they're all centered around a specific theme. All right. So yeah, definitely go jump on the mailing list, guys. Get the ebook for free. I don't have any plans to not make the ebook free, but that doesn't mean you should drag your feet. Okay, get out there and get it. I do have other programs that aren't free. I have the YouTube Ninja Academy. We no longer call it the Gamers Academy because we have reached critical mass for gamers, and continuing to target the gamers who do not want anything to do with the Academy is just not wise. So we're focused on YouTubers who want to build something of value that has a positive impact on the lives of the people they reach, and then allows them to draw from that some type of value, whether it be monetary or what have you. And that's the type of YouTuber that I am focused in on. That's specifically who Alloy 7 is for. Okay, so we've got some other programs. When you go to the website, you can click on Ninja Academy and you'll be able to see the other things that we offer. We've got an SEO program, which is just the SEO portion of the Academy, which is like 40 some bucks. And then we've got the Academy itself, which is, $197. And then we've got the VIP program, which is $197, but then there's a monthly fee because the VIPs get to come on monthly coaching calls like this, but we go into way more detail. Like, this is something that I teach in the Academy, but we take the time and actually go through how do we build this and do a lot more practical examples and case studies. And there's also more questions. These are the 4 that I would start with. They are by no means the only 4. In the Academy and in the VIP program, we go into a lot more questions that you need to ask. Once you get this right, you're going in the right direction, but then there's some other things you also need to address to make sure that you can always be innovating. Because like Peter Drucker says, I don't think his book is up here, if you don't innovate in your business, or in this case your YouTube channel, your business eventually dies. Oh, what's the new channel name? Yes, thank you for asking that, my friend. I'm going to go ahead and post a link to that as well. So you can keep, so if you are here and you're somebody who enjoys my gaming content, you can click on that link and it will take you to the new gaming page. Book link is not working. Is that because did I spell it wrong? Probably. Oh, that should be working. That's right. Oh, are you saying that when you click on it, the pop-up isn't coming up, or you can't get to? So if the pop-up's not coming up, here's what we do. Email me at info@alloy7.tv. Tell me your username here so I know who you are. And then I will, with your permission, add you to the mailing list, and it'll kick the book out to you. Okay? So yeah, if the pop-up is not working on the site. Oh, also, if there's a much easier way to do it too. If you don't want to do it that way, here's another link that'll make it even easier for you. If I can get my website to work here. If the pop-up doesn't work, you can either email me, or here's an even easier way to do it. Here's what we do. Oh, crap. Just hit the wrong button. So the name of the channel is Cult Classic Neo. Cult Classic Neo, N-E-O. So this link that I've just posted will take you directly to a mailing list sign up, and it will kick the book out to you. So if the ebook link, the pop-up's not working, because sometimes it gets weird, or if you have pop-up blockers, it might shut it down. Just go to this link that I just posted. It'll take you to, and for those of you who are watching this after the fact, by the time you get here, I'll have it in the description as well. Let's see. Renier says, oh, thank you. You've been a great help in getting a move on starting a channel, as I've always been reserved, scared. Great content and engagement. God bless. God bless you too. Never be scared. Don't be afraid. YouTube is here to work with you. I work with so many creators who are scared of monetization issues and all this other stuff. Don't be afraid. Things do happen. I've had people in my academy get their channels banned, and we've gotten them back up and running within 24 hours. For one, that's the type of support that we provide. Now, granted, I didn't do anything. I just taught them what they needed to do to get it fixed. But don't be afraid. YouTube wants to work with you, okay? And don't be afraid to get your content out there and fail a little bit. There is no failure. There's only progress, okay? So if you put something out and it doesn't work, you just adjust it a little bit. Don't be afraid. Get out there and make it happen. What up, B? iFlames. So here's the deal, folks. I got to get ready to bounce because I got kids that have to go to school in the morning. I got other stuff that I need to work on. And it's been a pleasure working with all of you tonight. Remember, click the links that I gave you if you want to get the YouTube Gamers Survival Guide. Remember, even if you're not a gamer, the book will greatly help you. And it's totally free. So download it tonight, or go get on the mailing list tonight, and it'll come out to you. Don't wait, so that you can start applying the principles in the book immediately and start to see the change you want to be on your channel. If you have questions about the other programs I offer, I don't really want to get into it tonight. I don't want to make these coaching calls about trying to sell crap. Send me an email, shoot me a message on the YouTube Messenger, and we can talk in more detail about how that stuff works if you're curious. Or you can just go to my website. I have like an 8-page write-up on here's everything you need to know about what's going on in the Academy if you have questions. So it's been a pleasure, friends. Thank you so much, as always, for being a part of this community. Didn't want to leave you hanging, so we're back. Assume that we're going to do something like this every single week. It may take me a while to get the rhythm down and figure out what day it's going to happen, but once we have that established, I'll make it more clear what we're going to do going forward. So consider this kind of the experiment video. We'll see how it does, and then I'll make adjustments as we go. You can also send me coaching topics. You know, I have a lot of things that I can coach on. I can coach for days, years even. But if there's things that you want to know that I'm not teaching, send me a message and we'll get that done for you. Super Ohio Brother says, looks like I stepped in a little late. Sorry, bro, don't worry. In about 2 hours, this will finish processing and you can watch the replay on the YouTube channel, my friend. God bless all of you. Thank you so much for being a part of this wonderful community. You're why I get up and do this still today. Remember that we are stronger than I. I love all of you, and I'll see you soon.